What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Rosalie Elliott Show, all about world music and psychology. And I got something special for you. It's perfect for you.
Ah, she's like singing out of my soul. Sometimes we get lost in our own little world, but it's all so much bigger than we realize.
Falling in Reverse has released their album, Popular Monster. Very fitting album name, I feel like, for Falling in Reverse. They have a song out called Prequel, and I'm going to check it out. Are you ready? Subscribe if you're new. We're all about going around the world, listening to music, pulling out the psychology of the lyrics, the musical compositions. I've worked as a therapist, worked as a teacher. I'm a singer-songwriter, master's in counseling psychology. That's why I come at this from a musical world and psychological angle. So that's what you'll find here. Subscribe, and here we go. Their music videos are always like movies.
Dear diary, I've been searching for a higher me. I'm in the sky in the pilot seat, trying to stop my mind from spiraling, and that's irony. I'm just looking for a resolution. I just want to be a better human, but it's hard when everybody's acting stupid. Pardon me if that came off rude. I just have a bad attitude with the world and not.
I gotta start over. There's already so much. I feel like you have to experience the movie first, in and of itself, with all the elements, from this Star Trek, Star Wars type of vibe, to the Iron Knight soldier looking setup, to being knighted and then crowned and the crown disappearing, to the laser beam, that red thread in his other videos. Sheesh. Okay. And then the lyrics. Let me start over. That laser beam. A little bit of the Dunes reference here.
Dear diary, I've been searching for a higher me. I'm in the sky in the pilot seat, trying to stop my mind from spiraling, and that's irony. I'm just looking for a resolution. I just want to be a better human, but it's hard when everybody's acting stupid. Pardon me if that came off rude. I just have a bad attitude with the world and not just with you. It's the side effects of abuse. I admit I'm a little strange. I don't think that I'll ever change. I survived a whole life of pain. You could say I escaped my fate. I'm a cynical, egotistical, unpredictable, hardened criminal, and I can be a little hypocritical, but I'll admit it straight to your face. I'm unbreakable, irreplaceable, undeniably inspirational. I use everything I had available to make me the person I am today. Dear diary, I just had another wild dream. I was in a world that admired me, and when I woke up I was smiling, and that's irony. You talk a lot but you don't even know me. I'm just hoping that my testimony will inspire y'all to stop acting phony. Pardon me if that came off weird. I don't mean to be mean, I swear. I have been through a lot this year. I just want to make a few things clear. I don't like it when people hate behind my back and not to my face. Nowadays it just feels so fake, so I'll cut the grass to expose the snakes. I'm unstoppable, it's impossible. You don't want to see the diabolical side of me that never stops is volatile, so I suggest you stay in your lane. I'm unapologetic, you know where it's headed. I will never ever let up off the pedal. I got the spirit of every warrior in me. Ever back the fuck up, get out my face. You're a slave to labor and you praise the fascists. You kiss the hand that takes half in taxes, faking outrage and being seen. A generation with no self-esteem. It's time to rise up and stand against them. Break the chains and finally see the vision. We're post-traumatic from a broken system. Follow me into the chaos engine. It's time to stand, it's time to fight. Don't be afraid to twist the knife. Your sacrifice to break the curse. Prepare to die, prepare to burn. Abandon hope, it's not enough, cause all our gods abandon us. Your sacrifice to break the curse. Light the match, watch it burn. Heaven falls, the angels die. Let it burn from the start. When everything falls apart.
You almost think I'm crazy for crying about this. It's like, this is heavy metal and rap. What are the unicorn farts is she crying about? Listen, there's a reason. I'll talk about it in a second. Dude! Ronnie! You son of a gun! This guy's nuts. This guy's nuts. Okay, there was a time, let me try to gather my thoughts, where I'd have seen this, snippets of it maybe, refused to watch the rest, because I would have either thought it was blasphemous or evil or dark, and I would have been like, oh, this is, just mocking religion or Christianity, or, oh, this is this and that, and then boxing it in and dismissing it. Being on this channel, doing this channel, going around the world, literally and digitally, breaking things apart psychologically is really helping me to open my mind. And of course, there's balance to everything, right? You can open your mind so much your brains fall out. We don't want that. I'm not talking about going, everything is wonderful, right? There's a time and a place to say some things are right, some things are wrong. There's a time to question things. There's a time to stand. I'm not saying being so open-minded that everything's fine, but being open-minded enough to ask yourself, what do these things mean? And there are plenty of references that I miss because I'm still new to the world of Falling in Reverse and all things Ronnie, right? Things that have been said about him, things that are happening in his music videos. I see references a bit by bit, more and more, from the laser beam in the distance from the beginning of the video to towards the end, the laser beam coming out of his eyes and him burning all it down, right? Those references are now becoming more prevalent. There's a red thread here, but what it all means, I'm still learning. So educate me in the comments. Let me know what this song's about, what it means to you. The general idea that I have about this guy is that, well, for one, he's an amazing rapper, amazing singer. His vocal performance, his vocal ability, it's not a performance, his vocal art is mind-blowing. From rapping to having a lot of dynamics and fullness to his vocal range, to being able to scream with precision, to being able to hit high notes, having an element of rasp, the timbre of his voice, operatic elements sometimes. I mean, just the whole band, just crazy good, right? Time signatures by the drums, the electric guitar, clean and clear. You had elements earlier, if I remember correctly, that almost had, what was it? It was a bass, but like an acoustic bass, and that echo element, maybe even layering and stacking that really allowed it for it to almost sound horn-like or bell-like, very doom and gloom and fitting to the movie. I don't even want to call it a music video. Lots of elements that are mind-blowing. But then I keep listening and I keep watching, and I'm seeing this artist, I'm seeing this band who is calling out religion, it feels like, calling out hypocrisy, calling out the games of the government, calling out the blindness of the sheeple, of people that are just following blindly, calling out the need to sacrifice and break things down and burn things down, right? Burn the world down, break it all down, but also addressing the hypocrisy of all the gossip and the rumors and the things that have been said about him. So those are the general themes I'm seeing. When it came to the crucifixion scene, I could see some people being like, this is blasphemy, right? Why reenact the not only crucifixion, but also the ascension, and then demonstrating this battle between angel and darkness, and then even saying things like, why have you forsaken me? I don't know exactly what he's trying to say. Prequel is an interesting name, right? Prequel usually is what happens before something, right? Versus the sequel. Okay, so it makes me think, is this setting the stage for all of it? Is this the thing that happened before, the story that all of this led to? I'm seeing this guy kneeling down to be crowned as king, to become a leader by what looks like this knight, Star Trek, Star Wars. Sorry, I'm still learning about those things if I'm saying the wrong thing. Knight-like, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones-ish feel of him now being approached by these soldiers or knights, being crowned disappearing though, and him then standing on this platform in front of masses that are ordered in perfect precision, beautifully arranged in beautiful rectangles. I mean, talk about order, talk about the perfect soldier arrangement. But it also makes me think of the Dritte Reich, Nazi regime, right? Of perfect order, soldiers lined up in these boxes, things we've seen in Game of Thrones, just perfect order of obedience. To me, the theme I'm putting there psychologically is an idea of having a bunch of people who are perfectly following. Later on, he also talks about having to burn that sacrifice and following blindly and being blinded. And what is it? Kissing the hand that takes half our taxes and calling out the government and the corruption of the government. So I see themes here of people that are just looking for someone to follow, willing to be in perfect order and obedience. Him standing there all along while he's talking to his diary, though. And then later on, even referencing, you talk too much, saying he's addressing his diary. But how is the diary talking too much if it's him who's writing in it? I would say perhaps this self-reflection. You talking too much, addressing the diary. Perhaps a self-reflection saying, I talk too much. I'm sharing all of this. Self-hatred, self-criticism to a degree, expressing things to a diary, which is supposed to be a safe place where you can be completely yourself, honest and open, and bringing very heavy questions. And to me, when he goes back and he speaks of, when he's speaking of searching for a higher me, I'm in the sky in the pilot seat, right? There's often this idea of you got to be the pilot of your own life, right? Learn to be better, learn to do better. So when he's speaking of looking for a higher me, yet referencing flying and being in the sky, there's this idea of I'm trying to be better, stop my mind from spiraling. That's the irony. I'm looking for a resolution, want to be a better human. From the get-go, the first verse, the first stanza, addressing something that is universally and humanly very relatable. Most of us, if not all of us, are trying to be better. We're trying to look for a higher us, sometimes within ourselves, sometimes outside of ourselves, through relationship, through faith, through religion, trying to stop our mind from spiraling. We all know the battlefield of the mind. That's why songs like Higher End went as viral as they did, or are still going viral, because people are seeing themselves in an artist, in a person that is addressing heavy topics. Same thing here with Ronnie. People relating to this going, yes, me too. I have these questions. I have these fights. I'm sick of this and I'm struggling with that. We're spiraling. All of us have our battlefield in the mind. Looking for a resolution, right? We want some type of solution to things. We want to be able to resolve, heal, conclude, be better. It's hard when everybody's acting stupid, okay? Now we're going from talking to this diary, this perfect place, this private place, about our own struggle, our internal struggle, now turning the lens outward, going, everybody around me is acting stupid. Sorry if I come off rude. Maybe I have a bad attitude. It's the side effect of abuse, right? It's the consequence of what happened to me. I'm a little strange. I don't think I'll ever change. Okay, so we're going from I've tried to be better. Actually, scratch that. I don't think I'm going to change. I don't think that I'm going to ever be different. I survived a lot of pain. I escaped my fate. I didn't turn out who I was supposed to be. Cynical, egotistical, going through these list of adjectives of all the negative traits one could have. Being hypocritical, unpredictable, a hardened criminal. Great rhyme scheme here too. I'll admit it straight to your face. And again, talking to the diary in second person singular as if it's another person, yet it's him talking to himself. Unbreakable, irreplaceable, undeniably inspirational. Okay, and now it flips, going from negative traits, those that would be deemed negative, cynical, egotistical, to now speaking of unpredictable, undeniably inspirational. Those are, being unbreakable would be a good thing, right? Strong in the face of obstacles, opposition. Being inspirational, good thing. I used everything I had available to make me the person I am today. So there's a switch in addressing the bad of ourselves, but also the good. Dear Diary, I had another wild dream. And so the music video, the movie, takes it to a place where he was standing on this platform in front of people. Now he's walking among the people in the village, and he's realizing that these people are following him and doing exactly what he does. Lifts his arm, so do they. I was in a world that admired me. When I woke up, I was smiling. That's irony. You talk a lot, but you don't even know me. Right? Again, speaking to the diary, saying you talk a lot, even though it's himself doing the talking. You don't even know me. This diary that we open ourselves up to, does it really showcase who we truly are? Would a diary, if it could speak, if we could personify a diary, could it really tell us who we truly are? Do the things we share on paper or to other people, even our closest confidant, really understand who we are? But back to that idea of a wild dream of being admired being irony. I think there psychologically we're tapping into another human need, which is that one of admiration. We have our human basic needs when we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of food and shelter and such. But then it goes beyond that of connection with people and of self-realization. And you can realize yourself when you not only exist in your own mind, but you exist in the mind or heart of another. I'm not only doing things right now and I'm being perceived by you. You see me doing things, and I now exist in your mind and thoughts, whatever reaction you may have to me, be it positive or negative. And so, this idea of being admired, having a dream where we're admired, but then calling that irony, perhaps because we're contrasting dreams and our inner desires with the truth, right? Diary, you don't even really know me. I have this dream of being admired. In reality, people are talking behind my back. That's just a contrast I would see here. Pardon me if I come off weird. Earlier talking about being strange. I don't mean to be. Earlier speaking of I don't mean to be rude. I've been through a lot this year. Okay, so we're going through these layers. It's almost like this cake. We're going through self-reflection, looking outward at what's going on around us, looking at potential causes in both first verse and second verse. Talking about abuse, talking about I've been through a lot this year. All right, so there's this complete dialogue of I'm looking in myself. I'm good and I'm bad. I'm looking outside. The world sucks. I'm looking at the potential cause. It's trauma. It's been a rough year. And so there's this cycle in a way. It feels fake. I'll cut the grass to expose the snakes. Now perhaps again looking outward, addressing the hypocrisy in the world, the liars and haters and people that gossip about him. And this could be personal, him shedding light on things that he's experienced, but it's also relatable to many of us because all of us have experienced snakes in some shape or form. If not in a personal relationship, on a bigger scale, on a macro scale, when it comes to the government and the world and the media and the algorithm of what we're fed and what we're supposed to believe, and realizing a lot of it is just lies. Unstoppable, impossible. Okay, so now we're going, I guess, traits that could be interpreted positively. Being unstoppable to me is a good thing. Being impossible is questionable. Is that a good thing or bad thing? You don't want to see the diabolical and hear that change in his voice where things went evil, very similar to the last release. So there's this red thread between songs. I suggest you stay in your lane. I'm unapologetic. You know where it's headed. I will never, ever let up off the pedal. I got the spirit of every warrior in me. And so things are getting more intense. The crescendo's building. From a musical standpoint, from his vocal performance, from the music video. You're a slave to labor. You praise the fascist. You kiss the hand that takes half in taxes. Awesome rhymes, but also full-blown criticizing and calling out the government and the crap that we're experiencing. Fake outrage being seen. Now we're calling out people and what the media does, social media, our desire to be seen, right? Our desire for self-realization. We fake outrage. We have this social warrior, social justice warrior dilemma sometimes with people just wanting to criticize and call everything out, fake outrage. But do they really care? What are they really doing to change the problem? People that want to be seen. A generation with no self-esteem, right? A generation that wants to take selfies and be seen and be on camera. But how much is their actual self-love and growth? How much is that just a vain attempt at trying to be somebody because there is low self-esteem? Time to rise up, stand against them. Is this a call to action to go against the government, to go against these lies? Break the chains, finally see the vision. So see clear, right? And then the parallel between singing a vision and him having the laser beams as eyes, as his vision. We're post-traumatic from a broken system, all right? Earlier talking about his personal trauma. Now we're speaking more on a global scale. As a people, we're post-traumatic, a broken system. Follow me into the chaos engine, okay? Just beautiful red thread throughout these songs, but also really unafraid to address the crap that's happening in our world, the hypocrisy, the lies, the games. And then to speak of, don't be afraid to twist the knife, your sacrifice to break the curse. And this is interesting because now in the movie, it's showing us the crucifixion. And from a lyrical standpoint, I would take that as sacrifice in the sense of don't be afraid to fight, twist that knife, right? Fight against the regime, fight against corrupt government, fight against the lies that they're feeding us and how they're trying to polarize us and cause division. Put the knife in that sacrifice, kill it, fight, prepare to die, prepare to burn, right? Abandon hope, it's not enough. It sounds like a very depressing message, abandon hope. But perhaps what he means is stop just holding on to hope. Stop with just sending people prayers and love. It's not enough. When there's catastrophe and people are hurting, it doesn't do jack for them when somebody says thinking of you, sending love and prayers, right? Not that prayer can't be powerful. There very well could be there could very well be power behind good thoughts, energy, praying, interceding. People's prayers have been answered galore. So, right, you can't discredit that either. But if that's all we're doing, just sending prayer and pray, what are we doing to actually make a difference? All our gods have abandoned us. Now perhaps he's calling out religion and how it's us that have to make a change. We can't just sit here waiting for God to intervene. What are we doing? We got to burn that sacrifice. And this is where, as I said earlier, in the past, I would have seen the crucifixion scene and thought of maybe this is blasphemous or evil. But here, perhaps, powerfully portraying being hurt by people, being hurt by religion, and maybe trying to get people to realize we can't just keep looking externally and hoping for a God to save us or just blaming it all on something external. Oh, Jesus paid it all. Oh, God is going to do this. Oh, everything's done because of that. But instead, we need to make a change. We have been given free will, right? So regardless of your faith or what or who you put your hope in, there can be therapeutic psychological power behind that too, if it's a good faith that doesn't harm you or other people. But if we use it as a weapon to hurt other people, right? Or if we use it as a cop-out to not deal with our death anxieties, or if we use it as an excuse to just be hands off and follow blindly in the name of God, in the name of religion, then maybe we're missing the point. So again, maybe though it could come off across as intense or dark or rebellious or blasphemous to some people, maybe he's trying to call out religion and this constant what is that? The tendency of people to look externally for a savior, to either blame the savior, because one could take it that way too, right? Why are we always blaming God for everything that's happening? Because in the lyrics, he also sings, "Why have you forsaken me?" Which is what Jesus said on the cross, when everything falls apart. Heavy is the crown, right? That is also a phrase. Heavy is the crown. When somebody has a crown, be it a king or some form of royalty, that crown is heavy. As beautiful as it may seem, as much as it may seem like a privilege, it's heavy. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with the crown. And so is this perhaps a double entendre to call us to that responsibility? Hey, if we want to wear that crown, if we want to be somebody, if we want to be free from tyranny and corruption and hate and division, there's a crown we have to carry. There's a burden we have to carry, a sacrifice we have to pay to get it right. Or is it calling out religion and perhaps addressing God, saying, heavy is that crown you wear because you have a responsibility, but where are you? Have you forsaken us? When everything falls apart, everything's breaking apart as he's shedding his beams and as he's just shredding and breaking everything with his beams, and that giant idol, that giant statue comes crumbling down. Maybe there too, this message of idols will fall, religion breaks down, people looking externally for a savior will break down at some point because the world around us is going to crap. We've got to do something. And then even in the video, this battle of him ascending from that cross and that battle between angels and demons, very biblical imagery here, right? Of the fight between dark and evil. And that's not just something we find in Christianity and in biblical texts. In many mythologies and legends, you find a battle between half gods and gods, between gods and lords, and just a constant battle between forces, between dark and light. That thematic is as old as time. Us trying to understand, where does good come from? Where does evil come from? Is there a battle? Is there a remedy? Can there be a savior? Can there be one who can overcome it all? In this movie, him then being the one that, with his laser beam eyes, screaming, singing majestically. His vocals were crazy in that bridge. Ooh. Then everything breaking apart. The angels are flying away. The demons are flying away. He's just shattering it all. What is this, right? From a psychological standpoint, is this one man's desire to be invincible, to be the savior, to have all the answers? Is this his desire to make his dream reality, where he's admired, where he wishes he could destroy demons and angels and he could break it all and destroy the world and set everybody free, right? Is this shedding light on our human God complex of where we want to be the savior and have it all figured out? Or is it calling out religion and how we look to a savior and we always blame it on the angels and the demons? Not always, not all of us, but sometimes there's this tendency to look to religion or to look to the government and blindly follow, to want to crown a new king, always looking for somebody else instead of going, we have to be willing to make the sacrifice. We have to be willing to fight. Really deep, dude. Really, really deep. What am I missing? What does this song mean to you? I'm continually amazed at how Falling in Reverse is showing up and not afraid to talk about heavy, uncomfortable things. And Ronnie, obviously, with his crazy vocals. The whole band, just phenomenal. Very deep, very interesting, very thought-provoking. Comment below, subscribe. I'll see you on the next ride. Ayo!